All right, everyone. Trump's hiring spree continues. Kari Lake has been pegged as the potential nominee for Voice of America to lead that particular front. I think that this is an excellent hiring decision. Now, I would have liked to see her as White House press secretary because she was literally working in the legacy media for an extended period, and then they sort of stabbed her in the back when she decided to enter politics. And so now she's got a personal vendetta. This is a little bit like a lot of the other people who have been nominated by Trump. For instance, Trump himself, for example. Donald Trump was a donor classer, multi-billionaire, big name, hanging out with the Clintons, hanging out with the Bushes. All these people had no problem with him. Then he decides to seriously run for office, and all of a sudden they turn their back on them. Tulsi Gabbard is another example. Lifelong Democrat, turned Republican now, originally independent, partially because the Democratic Party effectively left her behind and then called her a Russian asset. So again, there's a personal vendetta aspect. Kari Lake, I think, is similar. While it would have been better to have her as White House press secretary, I think her talent is going to be squandered a little bit in this sense. Voice of America is very important. If you've never listened to Voice of America, it's basically like a news and propaganda broadcast that the United States funds. It's available on shortwave. You can go to U20 or something like that, and you can listen to it. It's on a bunch of shortwave bands, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's sort of how the United States projects its voice through radio, mostly more than anything. Although I do believe they also have social media and stuff like that, but literally everyone has that. There's also, I think, a podcast, but it's basically the same thing. So Voice of America is a fairly prestigious position, actually. Kari Lake, of course, attempted to run again for the Senate. That did not pan out, although it was closer than expected, actually, I believe. And so now she's going to be leading Voice of America. I have a feeling the Senate will confirm her. I don't think that'll be a big problem. While it's definitely a prestigious position, and she's eminently qualified for it, I mean, again, she's got a voice for radio, she's well-spoken, she's capable of managerial decision-making and stuff like that. She'd have no problem leading Voice of America. It's also a little bit more under the radar, like Secretary of State or head of the Department of Education, something like that. The public will notice it more. And Kari Lake can be a controversial figure among some people in the population. But with Voice of America, they're not even going to notice. And so she'll probably get through. I have a feeling that she'll be confirmed by the Senate without any particular issue. And I have a feeling she'll do a good job in that role. I've listened to Voice of America a few times. I used to listen to shortwave a lot, but a lot of that was like, you remember the time that North Korea popped off? And they were threatening to nuke Japan or something like that. And there were anti-missile systems that were set up in Tokyo and stuff like that. There were a bunch of shortwave parties on 4chan at the time where people were listening to shortwave broadcasts and trying to scope out any sort of military information whatsoever. Those were fun times, by the way. I really enjoy my 4chan bros. It's pretty great, and some of them are clankers, actually. But Kari Lake, I think, will do a good job for Voice of America. She's got exactly the kind of skill set that you would need for such a position. Again, has done the media thing, is well-spoken, and is managerial. She's very assertive, which is good. The only thing that would have been better than this, again, would be putting her in as White House press secretary. Watching her roast, Joy Reid or somebody like that, somebody from MSNBC or CNN, would have been a gift to God, so to speak. Unfortunately, we won't get to see that, but we'll get to see her making decisions at Voice of America, so, it's basically like getting the Silver Award, so to speak. I still think that Kari Lake would have been a better White House press secretary. I guess Donald decided she was more useful elsewhere. So congratulations to Kari Lake. The odds of being confirmed by the Senate in this particular case measurably higher than some of the others, like Hegseth. I would say this is up there with Rubio on the acceptability scale for the Senate, because they're not going to really have a problem with it. It's not even really technically a political role at all within the administration. You're heading a radio broadcast effectively. It's state-run and a literal propaganda network, but if you're going to choose someone for that role, having that sort of experience, I think, definitely makes her more effective. Like, you wouldn't want to see somebody carpet-bagged in there and then the network, it just randomly goes down or something like that. I have a feeling she's going to run a pretty tight ship, and she seems like the sort of person would be a hard ass if you fuck up. But if you're not fucking up, she's probably very familial and friendly. That's just sort of the read that I get of her and her personality. So yeah, she'll do a good job. Well, there was another role that I thought that she would be better for, and I'm kind of sad that Trump didn't choose her for it. Yeah, this is a close second. Voice of America, that's perfectly fine. That's about all. Peace out.